This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki and all energy work, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide rather than host, as I too am traveling, learning, and supporting others on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy Seawright, and this is Ready, Set, Reiki. Hello, everyone. Reiki blessings to one and all, my Reiki family. So another amazing and fantastic journey ahead. But before we begin, that's right, it's time to give a little shout out to the Reiki Business Collective. Christian Stone has a wonderful Facebook book. It costs $0 to join. Here's where you share, support, and serve, connecting with your Reiki business community. Now, don't let that business name fool you now, no matter where you are on your journey. Maybe you're thinking about it, dreaming about it. Join. Be a part of the community. You may be able to make amazing connections and help expand your community. So I want you to know that you are never alone on your healing journey, that there are safe places here that will help rise you up and help support you along the way. Remember, Reiki is a journey and not a destination. So simply enjoy the journey. Now, back to our guest. Let me tell you, she has been on Ready, Set, Reiki before, a beautiful and wonderful soul. And oftentimes in this journey, I invite people to come back because things shift and change. Sometimes in your journey, you have to pivot and change different directions. Sometimes you learn a new modality. We're always learning and growing. So my guest today is Gloria Grace Rand. She is the founder of Radiant on Purpose, guiding mission of driven women over 50 to live life on their terms. Best-selling author and certified high-performance speaker and podcaster. Grace blends her signature LOVE method with intuitive coaching and energy healing to rebuild confidence and realign purpose within. So let's give a warm Ready, Set, Reiki. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me back, Tracy. I'm so excited to talk with you because you are such a light, and I enjoy talking with you.
I know it's been lots of fun. I was so excited because you had been on the podcast, and I had an opportunity that kind of fell out of the sky and landed in my lap. And when I went to check out this new reality TV, which was new to me, there you were. You had a show. I was like, I know her, right? Like, oh. So I was so excited to see you thriving and successful and TV star. How exciting is that?
I know. Who knew I'd be on TV now? Because way back when, and another lifetime ago, I worked behind the scenes in television. I did not want to be on camera, but things change. And I think the universe is like, stop hiding your light, girlfriend. You need to get in front of that camera.
Absolutely. And it's just so interesting how God, the universe, prepares you for certain things, because I had been behind the scenes working on a radio show back in like 2011, 2012. And I was being like the script writer, writing the questions for things. And then this has been instrumental in the things that I was doing and doing now. And I stepped down as an elementary teacher working in schools, and I became a special education aide. And I was assigned to a student for a couple of years who was going to tech for multimedia. So I was learning, I was sitting in the back watching and listening how to use Canva, how to do editing, how to do all of these things. And little did I know, I took as an ego thing, like, I can't believe I stepped down and I'm now an aide. But this was helping prepare me for turning into my purpose here. So it's in amazing ways. So you were on the show before, and those who maybe listened to the episode or brand new, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, oh gosh, there's so much to talk, but my journey with Reiki, became, over 20 years ago now. I can't believe it. How did it get to be 2026? I don't understand. I just graduated from high school, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, right? But over the years, I've originally my business, after I left television, I became a business owner writing copy for business websites and doing that. And then in 2016, the end of 2016, and my life shifted because I lost my sister to cancer. And shortly before she passed, I got this inspiration to write this book about love. And I thought it was nuts because I do online marketing. And so along the way, I'd been still doing Reiki, I think here and there. I even went back in like 2019 maybe, or 2018, I think, and got recertified again because I'd kind of let it slide for a while. And then I started feeling called to get back to it. And then in 2020, I wound up starting to channel light language, and which has been an amazing journey in itself. And so now I sometimes do sort of combine the two, especially if I'm working with doing sort of like distance Reiki. I'll be like distance light language at the same time and doing Reiki for people that way. And it's I'm still not what's the word? Consistent. Yeah, that's the word. I'm still not consistent with Reiki, but since we've sort of reconnected, you're sort of inspiring me to get back to doing that self Reiki practice again. And it just requires just doing it, just getting back. And I do sometimes, like I found, I think even in the last year, sometimes I was having some issues. And so I would do some Reiki on myself before I went to bed, or like lying in bed, I would practice Reiki then. So it's such a wonderful modality, and then I'm able to still kind of go back to it. But now, yeah. So now my work is about really working with women, in particular over 50, because that's me now. And so that's my, I've made mistakes along the way, and and so if I can help other women, perhaps maybe not either maybe not make the same mistakes, or be able to give them some clues on how to recover from those mistakes maybe a little quicker than I did.
Right.
That's my mission in life, I guess, is to really to put more love and light in the world. I think that's ultimately what I'm here for right now.
Absolutely. Well, my condolences about your sister. So losing that sibling, as I've had experience, it's changing, right?
Yeah.
And for those who do not know, I know because I do light language. What is light language?
Light language how I explain it is it's a multidimensional sort of communication, and it's something that I am able to share in lots of different ways. I mean, with my hand, I'm already like using my hands. So, so for those of you listening, you're not seeing me move my hands, but I'm moving my hands. I speak it, I sing it, and it's ultimately a language of love. That's really what it is. It's a frequency that your heart, your soul picks up on. It's not necessarily something that your logical mind is going to understand, although it might sound familiar. And the way I was asking my guides about it one time, because I was going to give a presentation to talk about what is light language, they said that this is the language you spoke before you came here. And it's the language you speak when you go. And just like we all have in this wonderful earth that we reside on, there's so many different languages and dialects and things. So that's why there's also different dialects of light language and things. And so like when I share, some people say it sounds like this, and other people say, oh, it sounds like that. And so it's just, it's a familiar love language. Again, like I said, it's a frequency of love that we're all made of anyway. And anybody can really do it. It just requires setting some intention and being in the right frame of mind and saying, yeah, I want to be able to explore this, I think is the key to getting started with it.
Right. I know for myself, when you look at it, it's man that made the language, right? The spoken word and the written word. And there is often this kind of confusion, because at first when I had always kind of, looking back, spoke it when I was younger. And I think I got away with it because I was an elementary teacher. So when I would say to the kids, hilarious, you're being so silly, Mrs. C, right? Right. So I think I kind of got away with it. But people listen because we're so used to listening to other people to comprehend or to answer back. But it's really just that tone and it comes out how it comes out. And to someone, it just sounds like garble, but it really is this feeling and emotion with it. Yeah. And I found when I kind of came out to do it, I was a little bit more embarrassed than doing Reiki or yoga or any of the other modalities that I did. I remember I was going online to do this publicly, and I thought, oh my goodness, what's my husband going to think? He's seen me in some interesting situations as an elementary school teacher. I mean, I had a play called The Wedding of Jack and Jill. And so he was the chauffeur in The Wedding of Jack and Jill because they tumbled down the aisle and everything. And so, there's this song about all the raindrops and lemon drops and gumdrops. Oh, what a rain that would be, standing outside with your mouth open wide. And he looks in the window of the door, and I'm like,
Yep.
What is happening here? And he has seen me in costumes and all kinds of things when it's been like farm day at school, and I've got overalls on, and I had dressed up like a diver one time. And so I thought, oh, I don't know how he's going to be, because he said, listen, I'm okay, but if you start carrying a wand around, we're going to have a talk, right? And I was like, oh goodness, let me shut the door. The headphones on. But then I just got to the point, you know what, this is what it is, and with time, and you gain that confidence to kind of boldly go and just express it. And then by being that example, you can help somebody else. Who's like, I've been doing that too. Yeah. And I'll find like sometimes I'll have an accent, like it sounds a little Italian or Armenian, and it's just so fascinating. It just comes through like channeled through. Yeah. And I'll stop and I'll be like, where did that come from? And it's almost like a song in a way.
Yeah. I know. Like, wow. Exactly. Yeah. I've had similar feelings, and a lot of for mine, sometimes it's either sounds Asian sometimes or Native American possibly. But I did have one time where I shared it with a client and that it sounded like Latin chant, like that I used to sing in church. And I was like, that's interesting. But I guess that must be what she needed to hear. She maybe needed to be able to receive it, to have it be something a little bit more familiar. And that's never happened with anybody else, but I just found it so fascinating. I was like, thank you, universe. That's such a cool way to meet people where they are, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a session once where it was almost coming out like a lullaby and helping with their inner child.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So your focus now is on working with empowering women. What led you to kind of realize in your journey, I'd like to help empower women?
Well, I think because of doing the work on myself, really, and having to go through the process of writing my book, for one thing, and realizing the subtitle of my book is How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself, which is something I had been doubting myself and needed to learn how to do that. And I also, in just talking with so many other women over the years, and especially over the last, say, 10 years, I have my own Facebook group as well for women over 50, and talking with some of them when we get together, even in person, which I love to do, is that there's so many society sort of puts these limiting beliefs or limiting thoughts maybe on us, and that we then start to take upon us, that we're not as capable anymore, or that we should be, again, like when we were kids, that we should be seen and not heard. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, well, you're, old, we don't want to pay attention to you. You've got gray hair. What the heck do you know? It's like, excuse me, hello. This is when you should be listening even more because we've lived and we have experience. So that's sort of the reason why I want to be able to pay it forward, and be able to help other women realize that we're just starting to hit our stride, It's like we've got so many more good things to come. And it's really, again, it's like, it's so strange that society has had this idea that we should be washed up, when if you really do the research, you'll see so many successful people actually started in their 50s. So it's not unusual to start a successful business, or even in your 60s and even later. So now is the time, especially as we move into like our 50s, and especially if you have been a parent in particular, by now your kids have been, should be on their own and are starting their own lives. And so they don't quite need you as much, although they still do, but they don't need you quite as much. And so now is that time for you to go back and say, what did I have maybe a dream that I kind of put on the shelf for a while? Maybe I want to explore that now, or maybe I just want to start something totally new, but I don't know what that is, and I need some help finding that. And so that's what I like being able to do, is help women to develop that clarity first off, and then develop the confidence to say, yeah, you can do this, or at least give it a shot. And then if it doesn't work, then you pivot and try something else, and that's okay too.
Right. There are so many examples online of women. I was reading the other day. Now, she wasn't in her 50s, but she was in her 40s. And Vera Wang, who is the dress designer, she worked at Vogue for many years. The goal was that particular editor job. And in her 40s, she was passed over because they said she was too old. And she left that and became a designer. And I always tell my children, rejection is protection, that is switching you to that purpose. And if she would have gotten that editor job, she may not have built this $1 million business. As she's 76 years old. She was on some kind of event recently. She looked fantastic and so respected and world renowned, but she was overlooked after putting 17 years into a company. And that happens sometimes, but maybe reframe the way you're looking at it is, well, what a blessing I didn't get that opportunity. What a blessing. That job.
Absolutely.
Wow, this really encouraged me to go into a different direction that I never thought I ever would do, because I never imagined that I would in my 50s be teaching yoga full time, Reiki, podcast, books, all of these things, because I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to be a mom. I knew that from when I was little, and I knew I wanted to do some type of teaching, but I thought it was in the classrooms and with little kids, and we were going to do circle time, right? And crayons and puppets, right? So that's what I thought. I remember as a young mom, I had moved from Pittsburgh to Maryland, then down to Charleston, South Carolina, and I had my first child. And this was before all the internet and all the groups and things like that. There was a group that I found at my church, and it was mothers of preschoolers. And I had gone, and they had a series called The Titus Women, and they were women in their 50s that would come up and they would speak. And I remember so moved by this, because it's like, we have the wisdom that we can help and inspire you and encourage you. And it's so refreshing to be able to have these resources now. As a Gen Xer, these things weren't spoken about. My mother didn't talk about these things. These were like taboo things that we didn't talk about, with menopause and kind of things. Sometimes you kind of lost, like, where do you go to for this information? So helping, empowering, coming from this time where, you were put down as women, and nope, you're boxed into this, you can only teach. I mean, you just think back to when women could actually have a credit card without their husband, or it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. It's only like 50 years, folks.
Yeah.
55, let's say. And I mean, that's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. I must say I was fortunate in that my although maybe not necessarily for circumstances, because I grew up, so I'm a little bit older than you. I'm Jen Jones now, I found out. So a subset, because I'm the tail end of the baby boomers. So now they've
Okay.
decided we're that sandwich generation between the
Yeah.
baby boomers and Gen X.
Yeah.
But that my mom did actually work full time. I think probably she had to because we needed the income, and it was the 70s, we had a big recession and stuff. But she was a good role model for me in that she became she worked for the county government, and then eventually became a court officer clerk for juvenile court. So she said she was 5'2" until I got to be 5'2". And then I was like, not quite, Mom. I think you're maybe closer to 5 foot or 5'1", maybe. But she had to wear a uniform, police uniform. She had to learn how to fire a gun, and she would escort these really tall teenagers from the lockup to the courtroom and back again. And I mean, that's not something that, a lot of women would do. And so that really, she inspired me to know that I could go on and do, whatever. If she could do that, I can do whatever I set out to do. And that's, any of us, we need to be able to know that we can set our minds and do stuff, and don't let society tell you can't. If you really want it strongly enough, you can find a way to do it somehow, even if you have to maybe modify it a little bit.
Right. And the home that my mother was raised in, it was to be a housewife, and my grandparents helped raise me. So that was put on me as well. Oh, you're going to make a good wife, and you're going to be a great mother. And that was kind of heavily put upon. And when I hit kindergarten, the area that I lived in, it wasn't even a town. It's called a borough, right? So it was a hall. Okay. And so we still had a little bit of segregation at the time in the 70s still. It kind of had got up. And I remember my parents were divorcing, and this was a huge thing. No one else in my class was. And my mom had to go back to school, and she went to be a hairdresser, and then she had to work. And so my grandparents would take care of me. And I think that got me a little behind on things because, getting a divorce, and my mother was young, and my mom she had lost a baby a year before, and she probably had something going on that today we would consider postpartum. And so she had to go back to work, and there was her dream that passed. And one day she opened up the newspaper and saw an ad for a hospital. At the time was named Presby, but today it's called UPMC, needing unit clerks. And she went and applied, and she got the job. And she was a working woman, just like you see in that movie, Melanie Griffith. She had the shoes, the tennis shoes on, and the skirt on, and she would go off. And then she found there was a program that she could go back to school and get her education, because my grandfather would not let her go to college. He was like, no, we don't do that. You're a homemaker. And she went to try to get her nursing degree. And she eventually did get it. So as I was graduating high school, she was getting her 2-year associates. As I was
that's wonderful. How cool.
My college degree, she got her bachelor's. They always speak over me. Listen, get your degree. That's one thing that cannot take away from you. Get your degree. Really important to get that. So she was a role model that way, but her dream was to be a stay-at-home mom and have kids.
Sure.
Life threw at her. And that was an example of resilience and the go against that. So it's great to have. And I'm sure she would have loved to have someone like you to help guide through it, because my grandmother, she was a homemaker. She didn't finish high school. She quit when she was 16. So she didn't know. This was unfamiliar territory for her. So when life throws you that curveball, where do you go?
Right.
So years ago, you made this connection to Reiki. So what are the positive benefits to having Reiki in your life?
Oh gosh, it's been so good. It really has. It's a wonderful tool to, The word who's coming to mind is balance for some reason. I think is interesting. So yeah, I think to keep me on balance, mentally, spiritually, physically, sometimes as well, because sometimes we need a little help that way. And I think that's what I know. Certainly, also for me, it was a really great. Um, Before I even learned to become a Reiki practitioner, I was attending Reiki circles. And shortly after my mom had passed, I was attending one of the circles. And my mom and I had at times a fraught relationship, but also we were really, really close. I was sad that I lost her at only 78 when my kids were still young. And so now, and my mother-in-law had passed like 2 years before. So now my kids were without their grandmas. And so during the circle one time, it was like, I just had all of this wash of grief just came through. And it was necessary. And, it was a little painful at the time, but afterwards it was like such a relief to be able to let that. And I think that's one of the wonderful benefits, I think, of Reiki, is being able to help us to move through emotions, like grief, and to help you with that. And so I'm very, very blessed to have had that experience and have that tool as one of the tools in my tool chest when I need to either help myself or to help other clients as well. And yeah, so it's a wonder, it's energy, it's a wonderful way to be able to help us, because we are all energy beings anyway. So it's another way of moving energy that maybe needs to be moved, that gets stuck sometimes.
Yeah. And especially when this emotion just kind of rolls in and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, and to be
Yeah.
able to go to that toolbox and say, okay,
Yeah.
what's going to help me here? Is this emotional or mental? Is this something from my
Mhm.
childhood? Is this
Right.
something from last week? And
Mhm.
use these tools to help regulate and just
Yeah.
breathe. And like, just for today, I'm not going to get angry when I want
Right.
to knock somebody out, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody stopped before they reacted, then we're not
Mhm.
going to have some of the violence that we have
Mhm.
in our world
Oh,
today.
yeah,
Yeah. What
definitely.
surprised you about working with energy?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that I think that I could. That I could work with it, that it was something, because I was very much sort of a mental person. I was the one who was always striving to get good grades in school, and just feeling, even though I went to church and things like that, but it was a really, I think what surprised me was just being able to, I think, also to really get to know myself, to connect with myself better, to understand myself better. Because again, I think I, over the years, had started putting up walls, and was also just trying to be a certain way with certain people, and not really embrace who I was at my core, which is someone who loves life, who loves to sing. I always enjoyed singing, and just being able to be freely in my skin. And I think, so I think that's been, again, sort of the benefit, but I think also one of the surprises that it was, that it has helped me to reconnect with who I am
Yeah.
at my core. Yeah.
Along the journey, and then as we age as well, and then hitting that 50 and just saying, okay, I mean, you
Yeah.
have people that'll say things where you're not going to get that job or you're boxed in. And
Mhm.
I have proven them wrong so many times.
Yeah.
Just opportunities that I've been like, it just floated down from the
Mm.
sky. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, and being an inspiration to others that you can do this too. I
Yeah.
mean, and pivot, change, grow.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the best
Yeah.
pieces of advice that I
Yeah.
got as a teacher in school was, when it's not working, stop and redirect. And
Mhm.
it
Oh,
really
yeah.
helped me beyond the classroom with things to,
Mhm.
it's okay to change my business. It's okay
Yep.
to say, I don't like doing this anymore. Like, I want to do
Yeah.
something different, and to have the courage to be able to do that. I had an opportunity
Mhm.
to have a studio, and the location just was not working after 6 months. I mean, my clients were getting their cars parked in and things, and I was outgrowing the space. It really wasn't one that I could grow from. It was like, well, I need this now. This thing closed, and I have clients. Let's go to the next thing. And a few months, and I'm like, after a client got kind of parked in, and we're trying to find the person who parked them in the restaurant. Like, you know what? I don't think this is working.
Yeah, definitely not.
But I don't want people to think I closed because I ran out of money or I was failing. I was doing well. I was paying the rent. It was a low enough rent that it wasn't going, like we weren't going to be in the streets. It was affordable. But then I thought, you know what? This is not working. This is not working. And I went to the landlord. I said, if you have somebody else to take this over, I'm okay. I'll stay through my year lease, but I think it's just not working for the location. And I got out of it. And I just said to people, I couldn't grow here. Yeah. I want people to be relaxed and peaceful and joyful. And then as they walk out, they're like, wait, all these cars, how am I going to get out? How am I going to get out? And I got to leave. And then you have to put down somebody. I thought, okay, this isn't working.
It's not working now. Defeats the purpose of them coming to you to get the relief when they have to then step outside and be
absolutely. We had like junkyard dogs there, and I was fine with the dogs. They were lovely, but not everybody's a dog person, and you have to honor that as well with that. Exactly. So it wasn't working out. So what are some misconceptions that you find about Reiki as you've been out and working with it and talking with people?
I think that this is a good question. Yes, you ask really good questions. Have to make me think about the answers here. Maybe that it's. That's a good question. I'm not really sure the answer to this. I'm not. I think because I can answer this better for light language, because it seems like to me that I don't know that there's as many maybe misconceptions anymore, because I think Reiki has gotten to be a little bit more mainstream than when I first started. So maybe the misconception is that maybe that they have to go to somebody to do it. That might be a big one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That it's not something that they can learn to do for themselves. And because it is definitely good to go to somebody. And sometimes you need to do that, to have that external person who might be able to see the blockages that you're not seeing, or be able to feel the blockages maybe that you're not able to feel. But I think that you can also then learn to do it yourself. You can get the attunements and you can start to practice yourself. And then when you need support, then you go seek someone else, like you, for that extra support. But so I think that might be.
And that ties in perfectly to what surprised you about the energy, because anyone can do this. You don't have to have any gifts. You don't have to be magical or all those things, or some people call it woo-woo, right? I mean, and there are people that do it the systematic way. They have no psychic abilities, no downloads, no nothing. And they're just, they're holding space because you as the client are pulling it. And I go in at times with graduates to work on me, because there's some things, that I need to say, hey, what do you see? Feel, or I have a blockage that I just can't move myself, and someone else to help with that. So that's self-care and all that itself. Beautiful. So tell us about your signature LOVE method. Love that.
So this was, I love it. And because it's so great for me, but and it's similar to other people's, but it's what I needed and what I now get to share. So love is an acronym, obviously, LOVE. So it stands for, the L is let go and let God. The O is open your heart to receive. The V is value your uniqueness. And the E is embrace your divinity. And that came to me that very first day when I was like, this idea to write a book about love. And I'm like, well, well, if I write a book about love, what am I going to say? And it was like, oh, love is an acronym. Okay. So, but then I had to figure out what all of that means. And as I said, it's interesting. I've done other like reading of other people, and I'll be like, oh, this seems familiar. It's like, oh, this is another way of looking at it. Like I'm also a fan of the gene keys, and sometimes the way they talk about things similar. And I know, like, I used to read like Wayne Dyer, and he would talk about something that would be similar. But it's like, that's what's wonderful about sometimes, that there are these wonderful concepts that might be the same, and yet because we are all unique and you have to value your own uniqueness, is that I might resonate with you, but I'm not going to resonate with you over there. And that's okay. You might resonate more with, somebody like a Wayne Dyer, but this other person is going to resonate with me. And I think that's such a wonderful thing to appreciate, because I know sometimes when maybe you have an idea and you're like, oh, but this is, the same idea. Somebody else has already written about this, or somebody else is already practicing this. Why would someone come to me? Like there's so many Reiki practitioners or light language. Why would someone come to me? And it's because I'm me. And there's going to be something about me that may resonate with you or may not, but you're not going to know unless you try. And because there are some people that I resonate with, and there are others that are like, they're a lovely person, but I'm not going to go back to them. I mean, even I've had that just with chiropractors, frankly. It's like I used to get adjustments, and it was like one time I went to someone, I'm like, I'm never going back to you. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It was just, nope, did not get relief. It was just not right. So that's what it's about. So it's about letting go of, your own limiting beliefs, about opening your heart to receive ultimately love. But I talk about in my book, it can be lots of things. Opening your heart to receive money, frankly. We have a lot of limiting beliefs about that, valuing who you are and then embracing your divinity. So for me, even though I was raised Catholic, I'm not practicing anymore, but now I'm really much more spiritual, and that embracing that we are ultimately all one. We are energy, we are love, and we are all connected, but also to be able to appreciate that about yourself and know that you, as my mom used to say, God doesn't make junk. So you're not, you're an amazing human being, and to appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, you can really look at anything like that, say like music, right, on a guitar. I mean, probably every single note and chord has ever been played at this
exactly,
point, right? So why create more music? It's already been done, right? And you'll have that certain, musician, right? So Paul McCartney, he can play Mary Have a Little Lamb, and I'm going to listen.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I mean, the way he does it's going to be a little bit different than like, well, that's not traditional, Paul. What's going on? Right? Or Metallica plays it. Well, that's a little different, right? So there's a little bit of uniqueness to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, best-selling author, you are a certified high-performance speaker, podcaster, TV show, coach, energy healer. Oh my, oh my, oh my. All these wonderful things. As we've been talking, is there something that you may have forgotten or something you want to share with the listeners? The floor is yours.
Oh gosh, I think what I want to impart on your listeners who are on maybe their own Reiki journey is to just be open to all possibilities, and to really spend time getting to know yourself, and whether that is through maybe just spending time doing a Reiki self treatment, or spending time in meditation. I'm a big proponent of meditation, or journaling, but spending time to get to know yourself, and because that's going to really help you in anything that you do afterwards, because when you get to really connect and get to start trusting your higher self and your own intuition, it just opens up the world to you of wonderful synchronicities start to happen. It's a great gift.
Beautiful. Let our listeners know where they can find you if they want to reach out to you.
Well, they can certainly reach out to me at my website, which is gloriarand.com, GLORIARAND.com. And you can, when you go there, I have a quiz right there where you can take to discover your personal power archetype. So as a midlife woman and entrepreneur, and particularly I love working with entrepreneurs. So you can check that out there. And and I would love to connect with you. And of course, I have my podcast is Design Your Life Your Way. So you can join us there as well.
Beautiful. And you're on New Reality TV. And let us know how to connect with your women's group.
Yes. So that is, it's called the Soulful Women's Network, and you'll find it on Facebook. You can also go to bit.ly/soul network, and that's all lowercase, and you can also get there that way as well. And so if you're someone who's over 50 looking for a community where you want to grow and thrive, we'd love to have you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Gloria Grace Rand, for joining me again on this journey. It has been delightful, and we could probably go on and on and on and on, right?
I know. Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
People, and then it's just like, boom, instant connection.
Absolutely.
For all of your work. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your light language and all that you do. It is deeply appreciated. All right, my beautiful listeners, if you want to have a question featured on the show, reach out, www.readysetreiki.com. Check me out on social media. I'm Tracy Seawright, and this has been Ready, Set, Reiki.